All right, you're welcome to another beautiful Saturday morning right here on the Afia Sports Show. And I am your priest of football, Emeka Mariko, aka Melo, and I'll be here along with Divine today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. C couldn't make it today. He had something urgent to attend to, but like we can handle this ourselves today. We have the npfl back in action, and we've seen how it has progressed so far, and you've seen our dear old Rangers, where they have been on the table. It's been a slip of form since last season. And I want to ask, given the results recently and the positions of the top 8, which team has surprised you the most this season in the NPFL?
That's the table. I would actually say, based on the top 8 you're talking about, surprise comes in different forms. Surprise comes in different forms. It comes in the good way, it comes in the bad way. But in the good way, based on the good aspect, the positive aspect of surprise, I'm actually surprised that Rivers United, who are actually second on the log. Like, if anyone would tell me that Rivers United would be second on the log, I wouldn't actually believe that. Alongside them, Shooting Stars, that's 3SC. I'm like, wow, is this really happening? I'm like, wow. And the difference between first, second, and third are it's actually just a close shave. It's just
it's 2 points separating first and second, 3 points separating first and third.
So you can imagine. And
about 5 points separating first.
Then our dear old Rangers is on 4th place, and then Enyimba is on 8th. Woof. Okay, I'll give the excuse for Enyimba, although I'm negatively surprised on that. I'll give the excuse on them because I know they are playing the CAF Champions League. So should I say it's been a fixture compilement for them. But that being said, we move. But for me, the first, second, and third, I'm like, is it? I've been my eye, know they see well. I've been awaiting.
Well, actually, most people would say that Shooting Stars are the surprise package in the top 4 right now. I mean, nobody expected them to go this far, but they've done the job and they surprised everyone. They are seemingly on course for the right track. I mean, who's to say they might not go on the way to win the title if the top 2 don't slip up?
Exactly. That's what it's about. Your opponent slip up, you take the advantage. That's what it is.
I want to ask this now. The fixtures for the weekend will be coming up soon.
All right.
I'll ask, which fixture, when they come up, will be your key fixture to note? Because, I mean, dear old Rangers will be back in action, but let's take it first. We've got Nassau United versus Castina United. That's coming up 2 p.m. today. Kora United has been, 3SC has been postponed due to some conditions there.
Right.
Rangers will be hosting Niger Tornadoes. We have Sunshine Stars versus Ikorodu City. Abia Warriors, your dear old Abia boys, will be hosting Bayelsa United. Sunday's games hold Kano Pillars versus El Kanemi. Heartland do host Lobby Stars. Plateau United hosts Rivers United. Accra United hosts Wema Stars. And Benin Insurance versus Enyimba has been postponed for Monday's fixture. I want to ask, of all the games that are still going down, which one is your standard fixture?
It's clear the one that should be a standard. Of course, our dear old Rangers versus Niger Tornadoes. Yeah, and it's at our cathedral. Please, Rangers, please, we need to get our 3 points. It's very, very important. We need to get it. Every game is a final. Every game is important as long as football is concerned. So please, Rangers, that's my standard fixture. Alongside with you call them my brothers, and they are my brothers. Abia Warriors versus Bayelsa United. These are the two.
I do want to say something about that Rangers game.
Okay.
The Cathedral has been a place of mixed emotions this season. I mean, you've had some great emotions there. We've had some painful defeats there. I mean, well, I will ask, do you feel like Phyllis Ilechukwu could get his boys rallied up and do the job for the rest of the season? Do you think they will get themselves back on track now that the league has been resumed?
Whether they like it or not, that's what's supposed to happen. Of course, it's the league, for crying out loud. It's football. You're playing in a league, you're playing in a tournament. Whether you like it or not, whether there are injuries or no injuries, your boys should be rallied up. Just like being a soldier, always ready for whenever it happens. So he has to rally the boys up. And I'll say this, he's ready. But I don't know how far he'll go. But if it's for being ready, he's ready.
Well, I mean, a lot of people would say this is what happens in the NPFL. A team wins the NPFL, then the next season they have quite a shaky performance, probably end up not retaining the title or
Exactly.
even finishing far off worse than where they finished the previous season.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be the case for Rangers this season?
Okay, Rangers. Rangers actually. sorry.
You want to say we are?
Yeah. I can say we because I'm affiliated to them. We're in Enugu State, so we are Rangers currently on 4th place.
5 points off the first place.
5 points up. There's still hope. I'm saying it's based on hope and based on expectation. As the current champions of the NPFL, the defending champions. So I think they will show what they are made of. Where there's still hope. 4th place, no much difference between 1st and 4th place. So it's the NPFL, it's football, anything can still happen. And I'm hoping and I'm expecting that Rangers come at least 2nd or 1st come the end of this season. I don't want to talk about it, but so let's just go ahead.
All right. Thank you for those insightful thoughts. And I do want to hop on our jet line, Mr. CEO is to say.
Yeah.
I'll go straight to Europe. Before I get to the Champions League, I do want to just say this. The Australian Open is back.
Exactly.
And we do have a fixture going on right now in the women's final.
As we speak.
I believe Madison Keys is taking on, if I'm not wrong, that's the fixture right there. And I believe Madison Keys has won the first set already, as news has reached us. We'll give you more on that as the story unfolds there.
Okay.
I want to go straight to the Premier League right now. And we've got quite interesting fixtures coming up today. But I want to ask, the season so far, what is your biggest shock so far this season?
Why do you always have to put me on the spotlight?
Who else gets to put on the spot?
KP, why are you not here? Okay, shock. Sorry to say it. Manchester City, not United. United is not a shock. I'm not shocked about United. It's about Pep Guardiola's men. Yeah, when it started happening at the time, people thought it was the absence of Rodri that brought about that. But as it kept happening, people are like, is this the Man City we know? And then it happened it was so bad that Guardiola lost 4 straight games in a season, something that had never happened to him.
He went on to be more than 4.
That's what I'm saying. It got to 7, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. It got up to 7 and I was like, what is going on? And then we got the shocking news that he divorced his wife, and then his wife took about his mansion in Manchester and took half of his property. The wife dropped the reason that it was because he was more focused on his job than on his family. I was like, oh wow. So no wonder this was happening. But so that means his family's trauma and condition overclouded his sense of tactics.
If you do want to use that as an excuse, I mean, Guardiola did pipe Ipswich City 6-0 after finalizing his divorce.
Okay, let's simmer down. It's Ipswich. Yes, it's away, but they're still there. So let's see what happens now. They have the game in hand this week, right? All right, let's see what this fixture.
The fixtures will be coming up shortly. Okay. And I do want to say this before they come up. Man City versus Chelsea. That game on Etihad has to be the standard fixture for today. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, that is the match right there. Man City hosts Chelsea. And the last time we played this fixture, I believe it was a 4-0 draw at the Etihad, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, 4-0 draw.
Cole Palmer showing that City's boy became Chelsea's man. I do want to ask you your thoughts.
Battle of the Bowls.
It's still going to be another enthralling draw, or are you going to see a side clinching the win today in this fixture?
Well, okay, the both of them actually are coming out from how do I say it? Are coming out from this shaky form of late. Lose, draw, then win. Same thing with Chelsea, same thing with Man City. Chelsea hasn't won a game in like like 4 straight games they haven't won any, and then they now win against Wolves. Man City has been losing. They've been losing and draws so far until they now came up with a solid 6-0 win over Ipswich. That being said, I'm either seeing a draw. If you want me to predict, I'm either seeing a draw. I know you'd ask me that, so let me just go ahead of you. I'm either seeing a draw or a Man City win. Yeah, because let me just say that Man City have kind of found their mojo back, and Chelsea has also found their mojo back. But I'm just seeing Man City having the upper hand based on they might be firing on all cylinders. But notwithstanding that, I don't have anything against Chelsea. I know you're affiliated with them. I don't have any issues with them. But let's just.
I didn't want to get to that. I mean, you just rubbed it in our face that you don't see us winning. You don't see us winning.
No offense, Chelsea fans, please. No offense.
Well, I mean, there are other fixtures coming up today.
Okay.
Wolves do host Arsenal in the Premier League clash.
Okay.
We do have Liverpool taking on Ipswich Town. Bournemouth hosts Nottingham Forest. Brighton hosts Everton. We've got the Mosaic back in town.
Yeah.
Could he do one
He won
away?
his last game.
Could he do one against Brighton? Let's see.
You won a whole Tottenham.
We've got Southampton hosting Newcastle. We've got Crystal Palace hosting Brentford, obviously the City-Chelsea game that we've mentioned. Spurs have had quite a bad run of form recently. They do host Leicester. Could Roy Van Nistelrooy take one for the... Could he just take one from Angie and just run away with it?
I mean, it's
I
New
do
Year.
not know.
It's New Year.
I mean, Aston Villa do host West Ham. Potter versus good evening, as they say. And the final fixture there is Fulham versus Manchester United. And when I want to say about Manchester United is that they've had mixed emotions there. They've had some good wins, they've had some bad defeats. You can never tell with Manchester United. Today could be a good game, tomorrow could be a bad game. Let's see and find out what happens at the Fulham Stadium. In the Craven Cottage, who hosts that game?
Going by, no offense, man. Please, I'm always eager to say no offense to anyone, please. I don't hate anyone.
Well, going
But
by
I'm
the
saying-
algorithm. Going by the recent algorithm, it's going to be a
Exactly.
win, a draw, a loss.
As long as it's the Premier League and as long as Manchester United is playing a smaller team, they just put themselves on the state of being the underdogs, and you can imagine their horrid performance against Brighton. Come on.
That is the table there.
Okay.
Liverpool do host
They are
the way.
13th.
Liverpool do host the way. Arsenal second. Surprise package in third. Nottingham Forest. Nobody will have predicted them to be here by this time
Just
of the
like
season.
3SC.
Chelsea in fourth place, doing quite well after
Man
such
City.
a shaky season last season. Man City getting their
Quite
mojo
up to
back,
fifth,
like you
yeah.
said, back to fifth. Newcastle sixth. Bournemouth, quite surprisingly, in seventh. Aston Villa
still-
eighth. Brighton in ninth. Fulham 10th. 11th place Brentford. Crystal Palace 12th. And you have to look through the cookies before you find Manchester United,
Yeah.
who are in 13th
Bottom
place. But I mean, you have to still refresh again to go all the way down to 15th to see Spurs. It's been quite the league, let's say.
Shock of the season.
People who you never expected to be in places are in places. I mean, you do have to go back to the Nottingham Forest. You have to go to the Spurs, who nobody expected to be in 15th place.
Man United, we are not surprised. It
City
started
are
last
also
season.
surprised. City is also another surprise packet
Yeah, fifth.
outside the top four. But they do have a chance to get into the top
exactly.
four if they can get that all-important win against Chelsea.
Exactly,
Chelsea would want to cement their place there and win. At least get in 1 point gap of Nottingham Forest and Arsenal before they play. Or hopefully they lose their matches and they just get it. It gets tighter at the top there.
Exactly.
But I want to ask,
Yeah.
which team deservedly should be in their position right now?
Deservedly?
I know you will say every team deserves to be where they are because they've played.
Exactly.
But I mean, let's narrow it down to the top six.
Okay.
Which team has performed the worst?
Top 6.
I know you will say it's going to have to be Tottenham because...
It's not.
But
that's what it
let's
is.
check this out. Let's check this out. Angie did start the season on a great form. And most times they say it's not how you start,
There was a
but
point they
how...
were even in first.
It's not how you start, but how you continue that form.
Yeah, the consistency.
And it seems with injuries and some poor run of forms and bad results, they found themselves in the relegation battle, somewhat to say. Because it's not clear. I mean, if any of these teams from 17th to 19th win their games, Tottenham are going to be in the hot seat, and Danny Levi is never one to be forgiven.
Well, the only
He always gives the boot.
the only thing I want to say is I know part of the reason why Tottenham are actually where they are right now is that I think, if my memory serves me well, about 4 of their starting defenders, Kuti Romero and the rest, are actually injured. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
Van der Vein as well.
okay, good. I'm happy you're giving me the point as well. So the thing there is, I know that is a very big factor why they are not, should I say, at least why they're not somewhere here on the 9th position. That's what I'm actually trying to get here. Manchester City, okay. It's the Premier League, so anything can happen. It's the Premier League. Who would have ever assumed that Nottingham Forest would come?
Before we leave the Premier League, I do want to get your predictions. I always have to have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just narrow it down to the key fixture that we've identified. The City game, scoreline.
Manchester City, Chelsea. On the spotlight. Okay, Manchester City. Man City winning Chelsea by 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
You see it as a narrow KD.
Yeah, it's going to be a close shot.
You don't see it as a maybe 5-4, 4-3. You don't see goals in this match?
Come on, this is not Barcelona now. Come on, this is not Barcelona, Real Madrid. This is Chelsea, Manchester City. So Manchester City to win by 2-1. That's what I'll give them.
All right. Let's move over to the UEFA Champions League. And he just mentioned the old Barcelona, who had to snatch it right from the death. That game began with Benfica taking the lead, 1-0.
You're not even putting it well.
Then that went game to 1-1.
That game began with Barcelona being horrible.
I'm taking it step by step.
Okay,
it started with Benfica 1-0.
Okay.
Then Barca pulling it back to the penalty 1-1.
All right.
Then it all went chaotic from there. 2-1, 3-1, halftime. Came back from halftime, it became 3-2. Everybody said, okay, there was renewed hope, as we like to say around here. Then he went to 4-2 from the own goal from Araujo, but you will never blame him. It was an unlucky deflection.
Kunde slipped up a bit. That was why that ball got past him.
It is where it all turned in favor for Barca. 9 minutes.
Pedri crosses it and Eric Garcia equalizes.
He had Rafinha doing his... I mean, it was an unlucky pass from the goalkeeper for that header.
Okay, a header, a very good header, by the way. No,
9 minutes snatching it to win the game.
No, what I saw in that game specifically was, it was kind of slip up from the opponents that caused some of the goals. Like the occasion where Szczesny ran into Balde. That was a mistake from Szczesny. He would have just stayed on his line. What was he doing? He would have stayed there. In case if Balde loses it, then he would come in for a one-on-one situation, because that was what it would have resulted to if Szczesny had stayed in his line. Mm-hmm. So now, Balde had already controlled that ball. If you looked at it, Balde had controlled that ball. It was because Szczesny collided with him. That was why he lost that ball. So Szczesny would have communicated with Balde that he was coming.
I do have to say this. Many people have had their criticisms about Szczesny coming back to Barca. I mean, coming out of retirement, then joining Barcelona. Many will have said, yes, they needed the extra hands in the goalkeeping department. Many will have said they should have opted for other choices.
Okay. I'm okay with Szczesny coming back if that's what you want to ask.
I mean, but you have to give him credit. He did his best in the Copa del Rey and get back-to-back.
What are you saying? He has played 3 games and he hasn't lost any. Yes, we played against Babastro in the Copa del Rey.
Kept a clean sheet.
4-0 for that matter. Atletico Bilbao.
Kept a clean sheet.
That was 2-0, correct me if I'm wrong.
Considered 2 goals against Madrid.
Real Madrid, 5-2.
Had quite a nightmare against Benfica. But I mean...
But still won.
Still won the game.
Looking on the bright side, he has won a trophy. Yes, Barcelona won Super Copa de España. He was one that kept
to get to the rest of the fixture. Mm-hmm. So, notwithstanding that was the best Ramadan that we've seen in a long time. I mean, that was not the only Ramadan that happened. Man City led, then they trailed, then they lost.
Football.
I think the game started off in the second half properly, with Man City scoring at the 50th minute.
Exactly.
Then it took them about 4 or 5 minutes to get the double.
And then suddenly
the game turned on its head. Dembele, the traitor, as they say in Catalonia, give me PSG the all-important goal for the comeback. Then
And they were set on their way.
Bakola had his goal. Neves had his goal.
Sorry, yeah.
I mean,
It started raining goals,
he
bro.
made
started
goals
raining
in the
goals.
Parisian air.
Like, everyone was like, what? Like, I was watching it, I was like, I couldn't even say it. I was like,
And
what are we missing?
I actually want to identify that game as a key game because it has put Man City on the red hot.
They are on the brink
If
right
they
now.
don't win the game against Bruges in the match day 8, they are
They
going
get
out.
their matching orders. Yeah, exactly. Which has never happened in a long time for them.
We did have other fixtures, Atalanta, Flying Halter, Lookman putting his name on the score sheet.
Come on, that's why
and
he's
the
the African
5-0
best.
win against Trump.
He's why he's the African.
He had Monaco doing the all-important win, getting that now win over Emery and his boys.
Who were one time on top of the Champions League table.
Atleti did the job against Leverkusen.
Not surprised.
Benfica falling just
short.
at the last minute to
Yeah.
Barcelona. I mean the very last minute of the game.
That was the last kick.
Dortmund losing away from home to Bologna. Juventus
surprised.
not really surprising. That is what they've been known for this season. Draws.
Exactly.
PSV getting the win against Zeda.
I'm not
Liverpool
surprised.
doing the job they expect to do against Lille.
That's Salah goal.
Stuttgart demolishing Brasilia. Leipzig winning Sporting, and I have to say it has been quite emotional for them since they left. They let the go of Amarin in this. I want to also say this. We do have some news coming that Sablanka has won another set, which makes her the champion of the Women's Australian Open. Congratulations to
Congratulations.
Sablanka.
Zabalenka, congratulations.
That is something. I mean, coming back from losing the first set to winning it, and I mean, she has gotten her all-important medal.
Yeah.
She has gotten the all-important trophy.
So I'll assume that
Drinkage for
after the first set, she found her mojo.
she found her mojo.
Yeah, that's it. Now.
There was motivation to go all the way and win it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
She had to
heading
do-
back to the Champions
Champions
League,
League.
we did have Shakhtar winning Brests.
Nice.
We did Arsenal
Arsenal.
doing the job over
9-0.
Dynamo Zagreb. Celtic doing the 1-0 now Genova Young Boys. Feyenoord.
Beating Bayern.
Bayern, not just Bayern, but by a trashing there.
Not just a
Many
1-0.
people would say company isn't the man to say. Many will say, I mean, you have to identify what he has done in the Bundesliga.
Bundesliga.
So you look at it one way, he's doing well in one aspect, he's doing badly in the other aspect.
Yeah.
You do have Milan who won Girona, that narrow mean. The Ramatonda, PSG winning coming back against Man City. Madrid,
5-1. Not surprised.
Nathan Salzburg, and Inter doing
Annihilating
the
no be small. No be small.
doing the all important job against Prague. And I want to ask, the top 8. It has had a lot of people going in and out, but there have been constant people in there.
That's
You've had
Liverpool,
Brest constant there. You've
Liverpool,
had Liverpool,
Barcelona,
Arsenal, Monaco.
Monaco. Yeah, these are the 4 consistent.
And these people have done enough to rest for the next phase while waiting for the round of 16. While the playoffs will be coming up soon. That is it.
God.
From everybody from Liverpool down to Leverkusen, as safe as it stands. Well, Leverkusen not really safe at the point. They do share points with Aston Villa. They could drop into the playoffs if they don't win their match. Anybody in the playoffs, I mean from 9th place to 12th, could get the all-important win. So, to 12th, actually. 18th.
They are all tied up at each other.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just 1 point separating
8th place and 18th.
this season's Champions League is one of the most,
I
if
want
not
to
the
say
most
this.
interesting seasons I've seen.
Xabi Alonso has a uphill task to keep his 8th spot.
He
Any
really
slip
does.
up on the last day, Real Madrid, anybody could break into that top 8 and get the all-important rest onto the round of 16.
Wow.
But I want to ask, come the Champions League, now, beginning people will have expected maybe Bayern, maybe let's say Monaco, Aston Villa, Juventus, Madrid, all in the top 8. But it's not the
How many will be
case.
selected from there?
It's not the case. Right, like now, Man City would have also been in that conversation, but there they are in 25th in the elimination spot.
God of mercy.
They just have the chance to snatch a playoff spot if they win Bruges on the final day at home in the Etihad. are we expecting Pep to get rally his men and do the job, or would they slip up for you?
It depends.
Because mind you, Bruges this season have been impressive to watch.
This is really a tough question for me to answer, and also a tough step for Guardiola to take. Seriously speaking, I didn't see Man City being in this kind of situation. I don't if they are playing at Etihad, and it depends. I don't know who they are playing against.
Bruges is who they play on the final day.
Okay, Club Bruges. Okay, and where is Bruges here?
20th on the table.
20th on the table. Club Bruges versus Manchester City, and who is at home? Well, it doesn't matter. I don't want to know. But whatever thing that will happen. Guardiola needs to step up his game. He needs to make that final day. Well, Man City has always been known to.
All right, let's just introduce the Europa League quickly before we go on our first break.
All right.
And it's quite the opposite for Tottenham in the Europa League. They do poorly in the Premier League, but they find themselves in quite an incredible place in the Europa League. But before we get to the log, Galatasaray having that important draw against Dynamo Kiev. Besiktas with the new manager bounce against Bilbao. The new man, the former Man United boss, is there at the helm and is doing great at Besiktas.
Killing a Spanish club.
Roma falling short to Arkham. Bodo Glimt doing the job against Aviv. Fenerbahce did the draw with Lyon.
Lyon.
Hoffenheim lost to Tottenham away from. Sorry,
it's a different Tottenham.
It's a different Tottenham. Malmo losing to 20. Porto losing to Olympiacos. FCB doing the job against Qualberg. Victoria Pleasant winning Anderlecht. Quite the surprise there. Salzburg like against Nice winning at home. Frankfurt did against Fervers. And the first place, Lazio.
No, let's not be surprised.
Sociedad. I mean, many would have said they would have seen a draw there, but Sociedad falling short there. Ludogorets losing to Midtjylland at home. United doing the job against Rangers at home.
It's not Enugu Rangers. I know it's Enugu Rangers. Just keep going.
Park doing the job against Slava Praha. RFC did the job against Ajax, which is quite surprising. And I think that game was snatched at the death of that match. Union Berlin, SG, winning against Bragg.
This Bragg is Sporting Braga, right?
Yes.
Wow. Just like in the Champions League, they're actually surprised.
I want to see the table quickly before we go on a short break. And I want to show you that it's not what it seems when it comes to Tottenham, because Tottenham, after the round of games, other people did slip into the top four and they dropped it to the top six.
Interesting. Man United is on 4th place.
Man United did the only important job to get themselves into the top 8. After being, place. I think they were, at the beginning of that night, they were in somewhere, I think 16th or 15th. So you can see the massive leap United took after the all-important game against Rangers.
Notwithstanding the points between, just like Champions League, the points between 8 and 24.
And 21st, actually. Yes, 21st, because it's 4 points. Quite tight there. But we do have to go on our first break. The AFU Sports Show will return shortly after these short commercials. Thank you. All right, welcome back to the AFU Sports Show right here on AFU TV, reaching you live from DSTV 254 and GoTV 17. I do remain your host, the Prince of Football, Emeka Maduka, aka Femelo, and I'm still joined by my wonderful co-host today, Divine, the Dividator of Football.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here with me. And just before we went on the break, we did have news, and I do have to apologize. Sabalenka is winning the sets currently. She hasn't won the title yet. That match is still ongoing as we speak, and we will give you more updates as it unfolds. Now, right back to the Europa League as we were talking.
Yeah.
Yes, we identified that it's just 4 points between 8th place and 21 and 21st point. That's to tell you how tight the Europa League has been this season. And anyone who can do the job can't slip out of the... I mean, FCSB could slip out of the top 8 if they're not careful. anybody from, let's say, Roma could still qualify, despite being 21st on the log.
The only thing that I would have to say it, in as much as so many people might not support what I've said. You see this kind of log here, along with that from that of the Champions League. This kind of shape this season actually made a lot of teams to step up their game. It had to get some teams to be on their toes. No longer a table of 4. It's now almost like it's a league game. No longer a table of 4 where you just relax. You play 6 matches,
qualify. One person knows he's going to get maybe Europa, so conference
and then
league.
You move on. No. This one is, if you want to win, you start from the first game. You try to win all your 8 games or 7 games, so to speak. So the thing there is, it's actually making a lot of big teams and small teams to be on their toes. Who would think that Ajax, of all people, would see themselves at 16th position with 10 points, just that? Then of all people to lead the league, it's Lazio. Then look at Manchester United, who has been
I do want to say quite a few things about Lazio this season, and I have to say, they've been one to watch, not just in the Europa League, but in the Serie A as well. I mean, they find themselves in the top half of the Serie A table, and
of course they will.
Pedro has been key to quite a lot of what has been going on.
Pedro of Barcelona, then of Chelsea.
Yes, he has been crucial for what has been happening in the Lazio this season.
Based on experience, based on achievements, based on these guys' creativity in attack. Come on, are we surprised that he? Of course, once a senior man is always a senior man. And Pedro
many people would have fancied them maybe in a 7th or 8th spot, probably 10th. Many people have been looking to maybe Roma, Ajax.
Oh well, surprise,
United.
surprise.
Some will say United. United, Tottenham, Angelet to actually boss this Europa League. But
Ajax, both in Europa League and in their league, they are like a shell of their former self.
I do also want to talk about the second place and try Frankfurt. Losing their star man, Omar Mamouche, to Man City, who has actually contributed quite a lot to their success this season. And we do hope in the round of 16, as they have already qualified, they can get the job done and maybe qualify for the quarterfinals ahead. And who's to say, we do hope they don't struggle without their star.
This is the only place I can say something good about Tottenham right now. This is the only place I can say something good.
At least they're higher than they are in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. So Manchester United fans, Tottenham Hotspur fans, just be happy for this. Even if you have nothing to smile about this season, when you look at this, you can beat your chest and say yes.
I mean, they do have hope of winning a trophy this season.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Even if there's nothing to smile about, when you look at the Europa League table, you can tell the Chelsea fans, you can tell every other fan that opposes you that yes, you have something, you can beat your chest and
I don't want to be too much about United fans, because I mean, one of them is giving me the crazy eyes for it. I don't want to say too much about that. Let's move on to the La Liga. And we both have our Barca affiliations, and it's been rough in the La Liga.
Yeah.
We are glad to see where they are in the Champions League, but
yeah, sure.
I mean, Flick has to get it right in the La Liga.
Yeah.
You were first for most of the season, and you find yourself in the second half of the season 3rd place, and not just 3rd place. You find yourself with how many points off first place? The margin is large, and Flick needs miracles to happen soon.
The thing there is not. Yes, I'm affiliated to Barcelona, but
I do enjoy what Atletico have done this season.
Of course. Are you surprised? It's Atletico Madrid. Griezmann has found his mojo back. Julian Alvarez coming from Man
has
City.
His boys red hot and
everyone, the guns blazing. You drop them. There's let's go. Let's do the do. The thing there is, yes, I'm not affiliated to Barcelona, but I watched some recent Barcelona games and I was seeing some poor officiating. It's not as if I'm making an excuse for them.
No.
Barcelona do create chances, but the problem is when it gets to the final third there, the decisive movement that will lead to the goal. Lewandowski misses his chance, Rafinha misses his chance.
Probably has one or two chances he takes and doesn't work out.
So the thing there is, besides Barcelona missing their chances,
There are some cases
There are
of
some
poor
poor officiating and
Yes.
referring that I normally see, and I'll be like, this should be called. Like our last game against Getafe, we balled Getafe, we scored first as a matter of fact. Then the penalty incident that happened, whereby the defender was just drawing Kunde. Not that, in short, not even drawing, not that he held his clothes, he literally hugged Kunde to the. It was almost as if it was a wrestle. He wrestled Kunde to the ground, and he wasn't called. And we're like, what's going on? Like, this was supposed to be called. But there will be a referee that will actually later, some other referees who saw the incident talked about it and said, no, that should have been called a foul.
I mean,
it was clearly
different
a foul.
games, different referees with different opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
that's
different
it.
leagues, what could be called in the Premier League might not be called in the La Liga.
Okay, the other day, Lewandowski was called for offside. A goal he scored against Real Sociedad, that it was the tip of his boot that was off.
Offside.
Later, it was later rechecked after the game. It happened that it was the Real Sociedad defender. He was one whose boot was actually in that position. So the goal should have been called as a goal. I don't know what happened, but I think I heard the VAR officials were later fired or so. But besides that, Barcelona has been playing so many games. They've got a lot of games and then they just slip up and lose it. Diego Simeone said it that some games that Barcelona has lost this season, that they didn't deserve to lose the games. Going back the way they played, their tactics of playing, Barcelona had been playing well.
The La Liga
But
has thrown itself open.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, as they say. Real Madrid do lead the line. Atletico Madrid are in second. Barca third. Athletic Bilbao in fourth. Villarreal fifth. Mallorca in sixth place. Doing well this season after a mid-table finish last season. They do have Sociedad right behind them. Girona after the initial gra and Basbos they did last season. Rayo Vallecano sit behind them in ninth. Osasuna 10th. Sevilla have turned their season around. At the beginning of the season, they found themselves in the relegation zone in 18th. Now they find themselves in 11th place.
It's more like a miracle season for them.
And it means that to go by anything these days, they say we should fear for the new sheriff in town. As Anthony has gone to Real Betis on the loan for Manchester United. Celta Vigo, they are in 13th place. Las Palmas 14th. Leganés in 15th place. Getafe 16th. Deportivo Alaves 17th. And the other side of Barcelona, 18th place.
They should remove that Barcelona, please. RC de Español.
I do have Valencia in 19th place, and
Real value.
many people won't have been expecting Valencia to be here.
Not at all.
Given recent seasons, they either fight for Europe or finish in the
I'm
mid-table.
guessing that it was the flood issue that
Yeah, they had quite some games postponed. They had some games that they did poorly. They had some injuries along the line. Valladolid, Ronaldo's team, Ronaldo's men won't be happy to be last on the log.
The phenom.
But that is how the La Liga has shaped up this season so far. And we do have to jump straight to Italy. Yes, our jet has been waiting off to Italy. And I want to ask you before the law comes up.
Okay.
Inter, Atalanta, Napoli. These are the men we do look to win the title this season. Napoli do lead the race with 3 points. They're in first place. Inter second place. I have Atalanta in third place. Lazio, the Europa League lead boys, in fourth place. Juventus, after so many draws and quite some few wins, find themselves in fifth. You do have Fiorentina, Fiorentina, who have been poor in the Conference League, if I have to say this. The Conference League has been postponed to next week. You have Bologna, 7th place, Milan 8th. Many people won't be expecting Milan to be there. As Roma, those are the people they be expecting to fight for the European places. But they find themselves in 8th and 9th. 10th place, Udinese, Torino in 11th place. Genoa, quite a good performance in the round of form in recent games. And Como, says Fabregas' men, doing quite well this season to get themselves in the top half of the table, or the second half of the table, if they say, after finishing almost in the relegation spot last season. You have Cagliari, you have Empoli, you have Panama, you have Lecce, Verona, Venezia. This aren't what you expect to see from Venezia. We expect normally as a frequent mid-table team.
To end up in Africa. Let's just say they slipped up, and that's why.
But I want to ask. We've seen quite some players over the years. They've lost form. They've not had clubs for the years, and it has been announced that Dele Alli is going to be playing for Como this season. Quite neutrals will be happy to see him get some brief back.
Yeah.
He has been training with them quite some while. Fabregas has opted and said, I put some faith in at Dele Alli, and I do want him going forward for the rest of the season. He joins Como, and let's hope for the best. Could Fabregas men maybe, just maybe, bust into the top 8? That's still yet to see.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not too far off from a 10th place. They're 6 points off the 10th place.
Okay.
They could get themselves into the top half with some cool run of form, as they say. Well, I want to ask, Atalanta, they led, they were second, now they're third. Napoli, they led at some point, second, now they're back on form. Inter, the same case, second, third, then they led, they're now second. Those three are rotating amongst themselves. They haven't left that top 3. None of them have left that top 3 spots.
It's a definition of who wants it more.
Who wants it more?
Who wants it
Each
more.
week we see it rotating. Maybe Atalanta moves up, Napoli comes down, Inter goes up. Inter goes to first, Napoli second, Atalanta third. Atalanta second, Inter third, Napoli first.
You just drop them run down in that
They are
circle.
shuffling themselves around there. Well, I want to ask, is the point man who is on top right now that we have to focus? He's had quite some good signings that he brought in the summer.
Yeah.
He had, obviously, the star man there that is smiling.
Yeah.
McTominay, many will say they won't understand why Manchester United allowed him to leave. And he's been quite crucial for
Impressive,
Napoli this
exactly.
season.
Yeah.
They've made good signings, and he's one of them. He's been one of the men getting the goals, getting the performances, and getting them into those top. Now, Napoli do sit first, 3 points comfortable. Inter red hot on their trial. Napoli don't have any Europe to focus on this season, unlike Inter and Atalanta. So would you give them the nod to give it their all to go on and win
Exactly. As long as they don't have as much fixtures as Inter Milan, who is in the Champions League, and Atalanta, who is also in the Champions League. That's the current Euro winners. So I'm seeing Napoli clinching the title as long as they don't drop in form, as long as the squad is being rotated well, as long as the coach plays his cards very, 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 very well. Because Italy it's actually a tug of war in the Serie A.
I want to ask this, and yes, quite a few people will say it might be impossible. But you see maybe Lazio break into that top 3 at some point. They have been good this season. Likewise, Juventus, with quite some few signings they've made. They've taken the Chelsea boy on loan this season. I'm talking about Renato Vega, who is going to be joining them to the end of the season. Could they probably turn those draws into more wins?
That means indirectly, by that question, you're indirectly saying that the top 3, or should I say Atalanta, because they are closer to Atalanta right now. You're saying that Atalanta actually has to slip up. That's what this
I'm
means.
asking, do you see them slipping up at any point?
That's
Or
what I'm
maybe
saying.
Lazio or Juventus breaking into that top 3?
Let's not even talk about Juventus. Please don't mention Juventus here. I highly. I don't see
You
that
can't
way.
you can't discredit the boys from the old lady. I mean, they are
All
the
right.
most successful in Italy over
All
the
right.
years.
Okay, so we wait then and we see. But for me, Lazio to move over and go to that. Nah. I'm seeing just the way it is now. The trophy has to go with either Inter Milan or Napoli. The only chance Lazio has there is Atalanta slipping up, which I'm not seeing, but it might happen that way. But for me, first and second has to go to either Inter Milan or Napoli. Between these two. That's what I have to say about that.
All right, we will go on a short break. Briefly, stay tuned to the FA Sports Show. We'll be back after these commercials. Thank you. All right, well, welcome back to the Afia Sports Show, and I still remain your priest of football, America Madeko, aka Femelo, and I'm still here with the definitor of football, Never. I want to. We were discussing the Serie A and the top three, as they say. Lazio, I meant Atalanta, Inter, and Napoli, the boys who sit on top.
Yeah.
And how we expect Conte and his men to do the job, given that they are not in any European competition so far.
Yeah, so that's the advantage.
That's the motivation they need to use. They need no distractions.
All hands on deck, all heads concentrated, everyone locks in. It's the Serie A. We are not bothered about Champions League. We are not bothered about Europa League. We are not bothered about what they call it, the Conference League. It is Serie A. AC Milan had already won the Italian Cup against Inter Milan, the 3-2 comeback thingy. So there is nothing else we are here for. We are here for the Serie A. Napoli, we chase it, we go, we score as many goals as we need. Lukaku, be more clinical in front of goal. You are a 9, you are a striker, this is your job. Every cross that comes in, once you're able to get it, please get it. Put your heart, soul, and mind, just like the way Victor Osimhen did at the time they won the Scudetto. That was about 2 seasons ago. So, Lukaku, do the same, do even better. You're a big man. Of course, he's more experienced than Osimhen. So, let's just see what happens.
And I want to just jump into the last segment that we have to do today. Okay. This is quite something new, actually.
How's that?
We want to take out some time and just analyze the best players in Europe so far this season. And possible candidates for the Ballon d'Or.
Isn't that too early?
Why can I say? I know many will say it's too early, but there are only two men.
I am saying it's too
there are only two men that have
You're talking about Mo Salah and Rafinha. Mo Salah of Liverpool.
No one has scored more goals than these two or given more assists than these two this season. And
they are both wingers.
May I just say this? I know many will come for my head later. Many Real Madrid fans, may I say. Vinicius' Ballon d'Or record has already been beaten by both Mo Salah and Rafinha. And this is just January.
The season hasn't ended yet.
This is just January. I want to say that so far we've been blessed with football this season. We've been blessed with goals. We've been blessed with so many dramas here and there. Quite some few losses for many teams. Big teams have suffered great losses this season. I've experienced great joy. I mean, one of the teams to watch Europe this season, I just have to be biased a bit. Barca has been entertaining this season. Liverpool has been entertaining. Extremely. United has been entertaining, both for good and bad reasons, if I might say.
No. So, as funny as that sounds, it's actually true.
It's true.
They see the big teams and they come out all blazing.
Who would have expected them to come out on top in the Manchester derby? They did.
Exactly. Who expected them to draw against Liverpool? Some guys I was discussing with the other day, they were like, Nah. I
asked many United fans before that match, and they said
Liverpool.
The highest thing they expect in that game would be a miraculous draw. They added miraculous in front of it.
And it happened. The miracle happened.
And the miracle happened.
This is football. Against big teams, they shine. They come out and say, as much as our performance has been poor of late, but
they've won Man City. They've drawn with Liverpool, Chelsea.
You can imagine. So, a big team remains a big team. But my only problem is when they now see the smaller teams, it's as if they are the small team now, and then the small team become the overdogs, and then they just run over United. You can imagine what happened against Brighton the other day.
It was more of a mismatch between, if I'm to focus a bit on United now, it was more of a mismatch after coming back from that 1-0 trailing against Southampton, who many would have expected to do the job since it was in the depth of the match. That game, 88th minute, Ahmad equalized. 92nd minute, Ahmad scored his brace. Just before the final whistle went, completed the hat-trick.
Football.
That's football. That's football heritage right there.
Cinema.
It was cinematic, actually. Many would have expected, we'll carry that confidence going to the game against Brighton.
And then it's the opposite happens. Now they won 3-1, now they lose 3-1.
They lost 3-1.
and the table just turns 360 on them. That's to tell you that the problem with Manchester United is not really the coach, it's the players. They need to make a whole lot of takeouts. They need to sell a lot and they need to bring in a lot. The Amorim needs to bring in people who actually focus on the game more. But big ups to them. 13th on the log. Wow. Okay, all right. That's all I can say. Wow.
We have come to the end of today's package. And before we do leave, I do have to say this. Zabalenka and her companion, they're in the finals. It's all tied now.
All right.
It's a draw, but before the end of the game, we'll sure to update you on our socials about that game. And this is the size of our package. Thank you for joining me here today, Divine.
Thank you.
The definitor of football. I couldn't have done this without you.
Thank you.
And I remain your piece of football, Emeka Madekwe, aka Femelo. Stay tuned for more exciting sports updates next Saturday on the Afia Sports Show. Goodbye.